There are days when you haven't done anything seriously wrong, yet you still feel as exhausted as if you've run a long distance. You wake up to your phone vibrating, a short message, a blunt question, a seen icon with no reply, a call that comes earlier than scheduled, a comment that sounds casual but stays stuck in your mind all morning. And you realize, what's draining you is not the workload. It's the number of times you get pulled away from your own sense of normal. There is a very modern kind of pressure, very office, very city, the pressure to react immediately. Fast, sharp, present, vocal. You can't be slow, you can't be quiet, you can't miss the beat. But your body was never designed to live in that state. You may not notice it, but every time you read a line that irritates you, something inside switches on. Your heart rate shifts. Your shoulders tighten. Your jaw clenches. Your brain starts drafting a reply so quickly that you think it's you, when in fact it's just a reflex. Psychology has a simple concept. When you feel threatened, not necessarily physically, but by feeling judged, dismissed, misunderstood, your brain prioritizes safety. And safety here sometimes just means regaining your position, regaining the sense that you're not being diminished. You think you're protecting the work, but often you're protecting the feeling that I'm okay. The problem is, the cost of reflex is always higher than you think. It takes away clarity. It takes away nuance. It takes away your ability to see the bigger picture. And worst of all, it creates a version of you that you don't even like. The hurried, a sharp-edged version that always seems to be in an invisible competition. I went through a phase like that. I wasn't always arguing with people. Sometimes I was very polite, very professional. But inside, there was a small fire burning constantly. I read everything in an irritated tone. I heard every piece of feedback as an attack. I prepared counter-arguments in my head before the other person even finished speaking. At night, lying down, I would replay every sentence, invent better responses. Imagine what I would say the next day to make it right. Sound familiar? There was a moment that woke me up. A meeting with nothing dramatic. A colleague said something like, "You probably want to do it the way you think is best." It could have been harmless. But I heard something else. I heard a label, a jab. I felt heat rising. I'm wanting to interrupt, to explain, to pull the conversation back to my side. But right then, I noticed someone else in the room. He didn't say anything. He just sat straight, hands resting calmly on the table, eyes focused on the issue. Not cold, not indifferent, just not pulled away. The meeting ended. No one remembered that comment anymore. But I remembered how I felt. I had been ready to burn energy just to prove something that, minutes later, had no meaning. I realized some battles exist only inside your nervous system. Outside, everything is still moving. Only you are pushing yourself into alarm mode. After that, I started paying attention to people who are truly steady at work. Not the silent ones who withdraw, but the ones with a kind of calm that makes others lower their voice when they stand near them. When a room is tense, they don't rush in to argue right or wrong. They ask a question that slows everyone down. They speak little, but their words carry weight because they come from thought, not agitation. And interestingly, their calm doesn't make them lose advantage. It gives them more choices. A person who reacts quickly usually has only one option: react according to the strongest emotion at that moment. A calm person has many options. They can delay, ask a question, change the subject, set a boundary, make a decision, or stay silent while still keeping respect. In other words, calm is not holding it in. Calm is keeping your hands on the steering wheel. In the workplace, there's a truth few people say out loud. People don't just evaluate you based on competence. They evaluate you based on how stable you are under pressure. When you're easily pulled tight, others will subconsciously step lightly around you, or they will test your limits. But when you hold your state, you create a feeling. This is someone who is not easy to manipulate, not manipulation in a malicious way. Sometimes it's just everyday traps, a sarcastic tone, urgency, vague blame, the way someone wants you to respond immediately so they can keep control of the rhythm. You don't have to win that rhythm. What you need is to win back your freedom. I like to think of calm as a kind of inner space. When you have space, you can ask, what exactly is being triggered here? What am I afraid of losing? If I reply immediately, what am I serving? My goal or my emotion? And sometimes, just a very short pause can change the whole story. Here's something people rarely notice. Strong emotions often have a short lifespan if you don't feed them with words. If you don't turn them into messages, don't throw them into meetings, don't push them into group chats, they pass more quickly. Your nervous system recalibrates. Your brain starts seeing facts you missed earlier. You've probably experienced this. You were annoyed in the morning. By noon, it seemed normal. By night, you thought, good thing I didn't say anything. That's not luck. That's a skill. And this skill is even more important in an age where everything is designed to provoke you. Social media rewards reactions. News rewards outrage. Many workplaces reward those who speak fast, speak loud, speak strong. But real life rewards those who can see the long road. If you want to go further in your career, you will reach a point where being smart is no longer enough. You need to be trustworthy, and trustworthiness is not about always being right. It's about not making things worse when the room is already hot. A good manager is not the one with the fastest answers, but the one who can regulate their own heartbeat enough to see the heartbeat of the whole team. A good colleague is not the one with the sharpest responses, but the one who doesn't turn a misunderstanding into a fractured relationship. A mature person is not someone who always holds back, but someone who knows when to speak and when to close their mouth to preserve dignity on both sides. Let me be clear about something many people misunderstand. Calm does not mean accepting bad treatment. Calm is not bowing down. Calm is standing upright without needing to roar. There are times you need to say no. Times you need to stop a conversation. Times you need to say plainly, I'm not comfortable with this way of communicating. But when that sentence comes from a clean place inside, not from bitterness or the need to win, it is far more powerful. Real strength is often quiet. You can try observing one small change next time you feel triggered. Before typing the first word, before jumping into the first sentence, notice your body, that's all. Where are your shoulders? What is your jaw doing? Are you holding your breath or breathing steadily? If you can breathe again, you've already regained part of your choice. Work life is already full of pressure. Everyone carries things they don't say. Fear of being replaced, fear of being judged, financial stress, family fatigue, lack of sleep, lack of time. Yeah, so if you find yourself reacting easily, be a little gentler with yourself. It's not because you're bad. It may just be because you've lived too long in tension mode. The good news is, you don't need to change your personality to become calmer. You only need to build a new habit. Don't reply when the inside is noisy, and you don't need to do it perfectly. You only need to do it one more time than you did last week. Every time you choose to slow down in a moment that could have made you flare up, you are teaching your nervous system a new lesson. I'm safe. I have time. I'm not being forced. The world will remain noisy. Your inbox will still be full. People will still have days when they speak harshly. But you don't have to become part of that noise. You can be the one who keeps clarity in your mind, even when everything around you is blurry. And when you can do that, something gentle happens. You begin to feel like life is no longer pulling your strings. You still care. You're still driven. You still have standards. You just don't hand control over to small triggers anymore. You choose your reaction. You choose the timing. You choose the words. You choose silence when needed. You don't disappear. You simply become harder to shake. If today you're tired of the things you have to reply to, have to explain, have to prove, try giving yourself one very simple permission. The permission to pause. Not to avoid, but to return to clarity. You don't owe anyone an immediate reaction. You only owe yourself a life where calm is not the reward after everything is settled, but a choice you can reclaim right in the middle of the mess. Calm people don't win because they're smarter. They win because they don't give their power away. If you're learning how to stay calm in a noisy world, this video is for you. Don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel. We'll meet again in the next stories. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. Rest well. Tomorrow is a new day. Wishing you peace and happiness.